I recently did an astrology reading. I know some of you are like, oh my God, not him too. And others are like, yes, one of us. Let me tell you where I stand on this. I don't really care what kind of personal development or guidance people use. I think the most important thing to ask ourselves and to check in on is it working? Is it forwarding me? Is it growing my potential? Is it improving me in some way? Do I like it? If yes to any of those, that's a great one to be doing. This is the third time I've got an astrology reading. And no, it's not like looking up the newspaper and reading your horoscope. To be honest, I actually don't even know what this person does. But I tell her I want this reading, and she comes back with about an hour of her sharing where the planets are in relationship to moons and what it means. And for some reason, every time I finish listening to one of these, I feel really good. I feel hopeful about the future. I feel excited. And she typically provides me with some sort of homework or dichotomy, which I'll share with you shortly. Now, if you think this stuff is totally nuts, that's all good. I'm not trying to convince you of it, and I'm not judging you for that either. The only reason I've ever even heard of an astrology reading is because when I was 19 years old, my mom bought me this as a gift. And at the time, I thought, some gift that is. Super skeptical. It was actually in person. The woman read my palm and everything. That was like, okay, now you're getting crazy. Until about halfway through the session, and she started to say some things about my dad, about fears I have, some personal things that I haven't shared with many people, that was like, whoa, there might be something to this. But most of all, I left with this feeling of hope, this excitement towards my potential and the challenge of my life. So since then, I've had 2 more readings that have come with sort of kind of premonitions or predictions for my future that have come true. I'll give you an example that sounds kind of nuts. This woman actually said when I was going to have my first child. And she told me like 14 months in advance. She said, in November of next year, you'll be expecting a child. That's when my wife and I conceived our little boy. She also said that my content would start to reach people around the world, millions of people. And it did. So this kind of stuff was like, on one hand, it's crazy. On the other hand, it's like, maybe there's something to it. If the moon can move all the oceans and we're this little blip in the universe, how are these things connected? Again, not trying to prove anything to you. I just liked it. I'm sure if I went to her and she said a lot of things that were not so positive, I probably would not be going back and not be telling you this right now. But I want to share with you what made this session really great and why I chose to get a reading now. I reached out to her recently because over the last year or so, I've been going through a sort of rebirth, if you will. You probably don't know, but over the last 4 years, my coaching business has grown significantly. I've had the privilege of working with hundreds of people in one-on-one and group settings. My Love Over Fear program took off, and I built a team. At one point, I had 9 people working on my Love Over Fear team. That included people to represent me, and even 2 coaches that I trained to lead my Love Over Fear program. In August 2023, my coaching business was at its peak, and I'm someone who constantly likes to grow. I want to see how good life can get. I'm always looking to expand while enjoying the process. It's not the idea of like trying to get somewhere and someday I'll be happy. I'm fascinated with how good can my life become? What degree of impact can I make? So my next step was to work with a more powerful, more impactful, higher quality team. So I reached out to someone I knew for a long time who ran a company that helped other companies develop their mission and vision and fulfill on that mission and vision. She worked with companies like Arc'teryx and Lululemon and Pepsi, like big deal. I'm just this little guy on the internet talking about love. So this step was massive for me. It was also a massive investment. And when I stepped into this experience, I saw her and her team as these brilliant, creative people that were going to help me unlock a whole new level of growth. I knew I needed to evolve in my next transformation if I wanted to impact thousands of people. And so I was ready for it. I was diving in. I was ready to listen to anything and apply anything that they had to say. And we worked together for almost a year. Through them, I was able to discover what I'm really here for. And we boiled it down to one sentence. My company, my work, my coaching is to help people awaken themselves to their natural ability to experience love and connection. That's what everything is for. And our courses, our coaching is to empower people in any situation. I was dead clear on that. Still am. Still is our mission that we're going to go through probably till the day I die, to support as many people around the world as possible in that. Now, the trouble is, as we worked more together, I started to kind of hang on their every word. So anything they said to me, I felt like was the right thing. Now, I designed my Love Over Fear program. All my content, everything I say and do online, everyone I've worked with, has come from my training as a coach, my personal life experiences, and most importantly, my intuition, listening to my own inner voice, my own guidance, which is exactly what I help other people do. I'm not a guru to tell people what to do. I'm a facilitator. I facilitate people's connection to themselves, and thus their connection to anything else they want in their life. The trouble was, when I started working with this company, I started to put a lot of weight into what they had to say. I started to turn the volume down on my own voice and my own intuition. Started to focus more on pretty much anything that they had to say. You might say I became extremely coachable. This is a trap I fell into at basketball as well when I played in university, but that's for another story. The thing about being extremely coachable is it sometimes turns into almost being like a puppet. It's less about listening to yourself and more about listening to the coach or the leader, whoever's guiding you. And so the more we worked together, the more I lost connection to my intuition. And when we finally finished the projects we were working on, everything fell flat. My business actually took a nosedive. I decided to do everything that they asked me to do. And it wasn't like it was coming from my own decisions or my own direction for my business. It was me going to them, is what direction do you think I should take this? Oh, this direction? Okay, I'll do that. But I wasn't connected to it. I was just trusting them. I would actually say I was blindly trusting them, which was my error. This was my mistake. And so over that year, I felt like I took some steps back. And it wasn't just in that. I saw it in other parts of my life. You know, my wife and I decided to move into this beautiful home, but the person we were renting from was a real pain in the butt. In fact, she was borderline evil. She was very difficult to deal with. And our spidey senses, both my wife and I, our intuition was going, something's off about this lady. It's going to be difficult. I got a feeling she's going to, give us a hard time. Well, fast forward a year later, and she wanted to sue us. She wanted to sue us to basically redesign her whole house, saying we destroyed it. Yes, we have some cats and dogs, but we did not destroy this woman's house. That ended up in a year-long court battle, spending a bunch of money on lawyers. We actually just found out 2 weeks ago that we won that court case, and we don't owe her anything. But we did lose a bunch of money on these lawyers, and it cost us a shit ton of stress. So I could see like all these little ways that, I wasn't confident in myself. I wasn't trusting my intuition like I was before. So this brings us full circle back to the astrology and essentially what I've been working on and focusing on since September of this year, which is reconnecting to my intuition in a new way though. Using this experience as an opportunity to recognize that no one can tell me the vision for my life. And I should never look to anyone to tell me the vision for my life. That I'm the one, that we are all the ones to curate and design and create the direction and path of our lives. And if we let anybody else do that, it's going to lead to resentment. It's going to lead to disconnection. It won't be ours. We'll be a shell of ourselves. And so I've been working with different mentors. I've been meditating more than ever before. And I've been looking for whatever ways support me in elevating my connection to my intuition, bringing us right back to me calling up this astrologist going, you know what? I'm down for a reading. I'm curious what you have to say. Now in this 45-minute, 1 hour audio that she sent me from across the world, a couple things stood out. One is that she says I have enormous potential, like extraordinary potential. However, what is going to ensure I don't reach my potential is my ego. Now, again, this is the thing about astrology. You could probably say that about almost anybody. But I think the idea here is to look into where that is true for us. Like we apply it how we choose to apply it. She said that my humility, my lack of humility could get in the way of incredible wisdom being offered to me. That I don't like anyone telling me what to do about anything. And so part of my mission here, my mission now, is to be able to discern whether it is my ego driving the ship, steering the ship, or is it my intuition? If it's my intuition, everything works out. Not just for me, but for the people around me. It's really good. But if it's my ego, she says your ego is like a tornado. It's a destroyer. It leaves a mess. And I'm like, yeah, I could see that. I could see the moments where I let my ego run the show and how it never works out. And this is where she echoed this focus on meditation, on mentorship, which was really cool because these are things I'm already doing. And what I like about it, now this is the part that sounds a little nuts to me. She talks about how we have had many lives. And apparently I'm a really old soul. I've lived many times before. True or not, whatever. I like the sound of it. It sounds kind of cool. And that each one of these lives, you're here for something. You have an opportunity to develop yourself, to take on a mission to expand. And mine right now is to learn to master my intuition, to become a master in leadership and communication. She reminded me of how my career path is so appropriate for who I am. So just a lot of good feeling things, you know, and a good reminder for me of how I can get distracted, how I can get egotistical and arrogant, and that if I, really want a whole new adventurous life with freedom, like if I want to go to my next level, if I do want to evolve, I got to be on the lookout for where my ego is running the show. And I thought, what a great thing to focus on. I just really like that it's emphasizing this kind of journey, like we're on a quest. Our life, we're on this quest, and we're here to explore and navigate and go through the adventures and challenges and experience the dichotomy of it all. This is really what I love about mentorship and personal growth, no matter what kind of person you're working with, is being given kind of like homework direction of like, hey, this is your task. This is what there is for you to grapple with. So whatever personal development you're doing, whatever journey you're on, I think the most important question to ask is not if it's popular, not if it's weird, not if other people are doing it, but is it working for you? Do you like it? And is it moving you in the direction, way that you want to be moved? Because clearly there are so many different avenues out there for all of us. And if what you're up to is not working for you, this might be a great time to stay curious, to have a look around and try some new things, try them on, knowing that you could change your mind. I think that's one of the greatest things about life, is this idea that we don't have to choose something and be stuck with it forever. We can evolve, we can change our mind, we can commit to something new. I love that we have a choice to change our path anytime. We can recommit, we can stop. To me, that makes this life an incredible adventure. And to you, I invite you to navigate, to have a look into your soul and your intuition to see what is being laid in front of you. What is the challenge or task that, if you were to stop resisting or avoiding, would be the greatest lesson and unlocking of your potential? This life really can be such an adventure, not something that we need to solve or fix or survive. If you resonated with this, please subscribe, follow, do whatever the app you're watching this on suggests. And I hope to see you around. If you want to connect more, I encourage you to join my community. Details are in my bio if you're curious.